It's the worst when you get a new book and you're sure this is going to be the one, and instead you just can't get your arms around it. Like the authors that I love, like Martin Amis and Christopher Hitchens, all loved Saul Bellow. I was so excited when I got Humboldt's Gift, and I just didn't connect to anything about it. I didn't like the plot, I didn't like the characters, and the language wasn't creative enough that I could get past all that. Had a bit of different experience with Thomas Bernhard. This is an author that the algorithm is just convinced that I'm going to love. It keeps suggesting his books to me. But the real clincher was when he was name-checked in a book by Knausgaard. Knausgaard talked about him as this writer of unbearable power, whose books he just inhaled in a single setting. And so I started reading Extinction and just immediately sort of got set aback. The language is so repetitive. Single thoughts are repeated 5, 6 times on a page. The action moves forward at a kind of a glacial pace. After about 60 or 70 pages, though, I got it. Like, we talk about a stream of consciousness, but that's not actually how consciousness works. Instead, our minds stew on a single idea, just like a leaf caught in an eddy until some sort of giant wave comes and pushes you down the stream, and then you get cast aside into a little pool where you sort of stew for a while until the river picks you up again and pushes you forward. Once I realized that, I was just blown away by how brave this book is. I mean, he was really putting consciousness on the page in a way that I'd never seen before. But even though I respected it, I can't say I really liked it. Roadside Picnic, The Waves by Virginia Woolf, Salman Rushdie's books, just such a hero for free speech, I just didn't connect with his writing. But the number one example of a book that I wanted to love and just didn't was The Tunnel by William Gass. The Tunnel is a story of a historian, a professor who is supposed to be writing a foreword for his new study of Hitler and Nazism. But he finds himself unable to do so. And so instead, he just starts to write the memoir of his own life, and simultaneously begins to dig a physical tunnel out of his basement, out to the street. So, like, a couple of warning signs right away. I don't like boyhood memoirs. I just never connected them. I didn't like In Search of Lost Time either. And also, anytime you tell me your main character is an aging professor, I just know there's a uninhibited co-ed somewhere who's going to reinvigorate his lust for life. It happens in every book. It's the most tired plot in English literature, and that does kind of pop up in The Tunnel. However, I had read Omensetter's Luck. I really liked it. It reminded me of Faulkner in all the best ways, and so I really was excited to give The Tunnel a shot. The sentences in this book are as good as advertised. But there were genuine bookmen once. Burton, Montaigne, Rabelais, and other list makers, Sir Thomas Browne and Hobbes, in the days when a book was not just a signal, like a whiff of smoke from a movie or a carton of cold crumb-covered carry-out chicken, but a blood-filled body in the world, a mind in motion like a cannonball. Every sentence that I read, I just got intensely jealous of. He is such a beautiful writer. And he also brings forth some of those insidious ideas about human nature that I've ever seen on page. But if you want to think about something really funny, consider how the titles of tyrants change. We shall suffer no more emperors, kings, czars, shahs, or Caesars to lop off our limbs and burn our homes. The masses make such appointments now. The masses love tyranny. They demand it. They dance to it. They feel that their hand is forming the first citizen's fist. So we shall murder more modestly in the future. Beneath the banners of El Duce, Del Fuhrer, the general secretary, or the party chairman, the CEO of something. I suspect that the first dictator of this country will be called Coach. Despite the slowness of the plot, as this book progressed, I started to get dragged more and more into it. And in the middle, it starts to get to somewhere that starts to feel really dangerous, almost like a Fight Clubby sort of place. But then, like the narrator, the book starts to retreat because it realizes it's going somewhere that it doesn't really want to go. And so it crawls back out of that tunnel to the point where the last couple hundred pages are just more memories of the author. Well, not the author. The last couple hundred pages are memories of the protagonist and his drunk mom and his childhood, which put me right back in the boyhood memoir place that I just didn't like. Now, this is a book I respect, and it's a book that I return to like some people return to the Bible. It's not something I read all the way through. It's a place I go back for an idea or for a sentence when I just want to celebrate the English language. But as a novel, as a story, it's just not something that I liked. David Foster Wallace said something like, every writer is a realist in the sense that he or she is trying to say something about how the world really feels to them. And my own attempt to do this was the Nihilisticats. The Nihilisticats follows a couple of core characters in today's modern internet-driven culture. And then around these two people who are trying to get some sort of closure or comfortableness with their own identities and their own lives, so they're surrounded by podcast scripts, insane conspiracies, federal agents, and an offer from America that everyone, if they don't like their identity, can just start over. The Nihilisticats was named the Pop Culture Novel of 2024 by Indie Reader. If you like books like this, I hope you'll check it out. And thank you for watching.